welcome back to the Jenn and Becca Podcast. I am Becca, and this is my beautiful friend,
Jennifer. Jen.
One day we're going to get this right, I promise. Maybe it's just going to be the joke of our show. Maybe.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I go by either. It's like interchangeable, so.
Yeah. Well, for the purposes of the Jenn and Becca show, we want to get transparent and put our heart on our sleeve and show the softer side of us, but also the bold side of us. And so that's where our nicknames come into play. But regardless, we have some really interesting topics for you today. We're going to be talking about Kanye West requesting a pardon, or what is it?
Yeah, it's Raw News broke it. It says Kanye West has asked President Donald Trump to pardon Sean Diddy Combs, who is currently facing serious allegations. And need I remind us, these allegations include things like rape, human trafficking, drug abuse.
So we're going to talk about that. We're going to also talk about how TikTok is for sale and apparently might be going to the highest bidder. And right now, Mr. Beast and the owner of Roblox are working together to possibly purchase TikTok. What could possibly go wrong there? And then we're all
with that. No,
yeah, right. We're also going to talk about how, besties Blake Lively and Taylor Swift, well, they're in the news and it is steaming up, and apparently they're going on a bestie break. I didn't know this was a thing, but it's a thing. And it all roots in the movie It Ends With Us, which is a movie about domestic violence and was apparently an amazing book. I have not read the book. Jen, maybe you have read the book.
I have not.
But I'm really excited to get into this topic because it's going to kind of flip the Me Too movement on its head a little bit. And it'll be interesting to see what happens here in the next year or so. So, Jen, where do we start? What do you want to start with?
Gosh, there's so many interesting things to choose from. One of the things that's been frustrating me, and this has been an ongoing frustration for a very, very long time, like years, since I think about 2018 or so is when the whole Kanye mess kind of came on my radar. Yeah, I think he's a really weird guy. Like, best case scenario, he's a super weird guy. And, when he came out and claimed that he was a Christian and released this gospel album, I mean, I was immediately highly skeptical, for numerous reasons. I mean, we've seen him endorse Adolf Hitler. We've seen him, just generally be a really strange, weird guy who, I mean, he strikes me as someone who does a lot of stuff for attention, someone who wants to be in the limelight and is willing to lie and to say and do extremely inappropriate things in order to get attention. He just strikes me as a classic malignant narcissist. And, I know there was some talk, he's bipolar or whatever, and therefore, we need to be extra forgiving. It's just like, I feel like that, I don't know. It's kind of a cop-out, in my opinion, because, even if someone, we all have personal challenges, right? I know many people who struggle with their mental health. They do not all do the same things that Kanye does. Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, he's surrounded by producers and business managers and, family members, people in his life who could say, hey, Kanye, this is a bad idea, dude. Maybe your wife should not go to the Grammys, completely, basically naked, wearing nothing but netting. That could be a bad idea. And so we can't chalk all this stuff up to, oh, well, he's just a lapsed Christian. He's struggling with his mental health, because the people around him, like, even if this was some, manic episode brainchild, nobody around him said, absolutely not. His wife didn't say, absolutely not. I mean, it defies logic that people are making they're going out of their way to make so many excuses for him. And it's just like, why don't you just admit he is really super weird, best case scenario? He could be possibly, maybe an abuser, sexual predator. Like, he's a weird guy. And I'm really stretching the definition of weird here. I see absolutely no reason to believe that he's legitimately a Christian. So he released a gospel album. So what? Lots of artists have. I mean, and like, for example, take Sarah McLachlan. She has this gorgeous Christmas album that I love. She sings a lot of hymns, Silent Night, Away in a Manger, songs that are praising God and singing about Jesus. Is she a Christian? I don't think so. I don't think she even claims to be a Christian. Sarah McLachlan is not 100th. They're probably even 1,000th as weird as Kanye. And yet people are bending over backwards to say he's just a lapsed Christian. Oh, we shouldn't be so cynical. And it's just like, no. I mean, if a rattlesnake slithered up to you and said, I've decided that I'm a garter snake today, would you believe it? No. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, I don't get it. I don't understand this obsessive compulsive desire to believe people are speaking the truth when you know that they're not honest, trustworthy people. Like, why do Christians feel this way? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I have a lot of thoughts about Kanye West. I think that I don't know if you know about Kanye's story much.
Not really, no.
He was in a horrible car accident. I think it was like the late 90s, early 2000s. He could barely speak. He had to eat through a straw for a long time. And that's when he wrote the song Through the Wire, I think it's called. And interesting story. Now, he almost died several times. He supposedly gave his life to Jesus Christ. And if so, praise the Lord. If not, then he's bamboozled a lot of people to think that he is pursuing a relationship with God. In all actuality, if that is not true, then he is just monetizing off of the evangelical Christian group of people. But so I listened to the Kanye West Jesus is Lord, I think, album, or Jesus is King album. I like it. I like rap music, but I don't like Kanye West necessarily as a person.
Yeah.
I think he's talented. My one daughter thinks he raps way too slow, so pick up the pace, Kanye. I think Eminem, you can't hold a candle to Eminem when it comes to speed of rapping anyway, according to my 13-year-old. But the thing with Kanye is he could have been cloned, Jen. I'm just kidding. The thing with Kanye is for real, though. Okay, so some people think he died in like 2002 for real, and was replaced with, right? We talked about doppelgangers in one of our episodes, someone who looks like him. You compare Kanye 90s, 2000s to Kanye today, he doesn't look the same. You could chalk it up to he works out more or he doesn't work out more.
Yeah, I think he doesn't work out more.
Yeah, he's got this big bad belly now,
Yeah, he's yeah.
I think with, what's her name? Bianca Censori, who doesn't censor herself.
Not at all.
I think that with her, honestly, I think that there's some people that have a price that they're willing to compromise for.
Yeah.
And I think that she's beautiful. She looks a lot like Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian's artificially beautiful. And Kanye obviously has a type that he likes.
Yeah.
Obviously. And she saw the dollar signs. I mean, her family, they saw the dollar signs and said, I have whatever I want. And I just have to be Kanye's little, whatever you want to call it. But okay, so you might be prone to that. You might be prone to dollar signs and compromising if the price is right. But then couple that with a sexual predator who probably groomed her to do whatever he wants her to do. You look at the Grammys. What was that on? I don't know. I don't even watch it. I don't even anticipate it. I don't know when these things are coming up. Like I don't.
Yeah, the only reason I even knew about it was because of Twitter, and I see her naked buns sliding down my timeline, and I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So she showed up in a beautiful black mink coat, it looked like, from head to toe, and then she turned her back on the press and the paparazzi, and in that moment, Kanye said something to her.
Yeah.
I don't know what Kanye said to her, but lip readers have been all over this on YouTube, thinking that he told her to drop the coat.
Yeah.
And he did drop the coat. And that's when I thought she was completely naked. I did not see the mesh dress or plastic or whatever it was made out of.
Clearly, the dress needs a slip. It needs a slip.
She forgot her slip.
It's a little see-through.
That's the problem. She forgot to put the slip on, everybody.
Why? And then I didn't look at his website because I don't want to give him the clicks. But apparently, shortly after that little episode, he announced that her dress is some sort of new product in his clothing line, and he is advertising on his website. So that whole thing was a PR stunt, which honestly, I think everything about him is a PR stunt. I think his, profession to be a believer is a PR stunt. I think everything like he does is just, it's all about money. It's all about a show. And I think he's a narcissist. I'm not even convinced that he's bipolar, honestly. I think he's just a really weird
bipolar. I think that was the claim. Now I think he's claiming that he's autistic, but I don't think it's that dress that's for sale. I think it's actually, I did see it. I saw it on his Instagram account that he has a black mesh looking one piece that's for sale for women. And
is it Bernie's onesie? Because
that would be epic. Oh my goodness. Somebody, if you're watching this,
that'd be a really funny joke if he did that.
If anybody is watching this, I need you to superimpose the Bernie Sanders onesie onto Bianca's story. My goodness. Okay, I'm going to see if this is working today. Share my screen. And yes, allow. I want to show you the one piece. This is the first women's clothing.
It looks very uncomfortable on the bottom.
Yeah, attire that is for sale on Kanye's website. I wonder how much it is adding. Let's see. How much is it?
They don't even have prices?
Yeah,
it's only $20.
It's only $20. It's probably literally made like clothing from Forever 21. It's probably not going to last longer than like 2 days.
Yeah.
That bottom part is super small, like that.
It's not a flattering picture. They could have at least put it on a dummy or a mannequin.
So if you go on Kanye's Instagram
it looks like a black dish rag.
Yeah, seriously. On Kanye's Instagram account, and I think I have access that through Safari, it shows a picture of her wearing it. But why would you put your wife out there like that? If you love her and you respect her, like my husband would never.
Oh gosh, no.
Never. Not even if he was in the world. Like he's a jealous husband to begin with. Why would you put your wife's naked body out there for the whole world to see? Like you could literally see that she just had a Brazilian wax done. Like,
oh yeah, no, there is nothing, absolutely nothing left to the imagination. The only explanation I can think of is that he's a malignant narcissist, and he will do absolutely anything to get attention and to make headlines and to get people upset. He doesn't care what kind of attention he gets. It can be negative attention as long as it's attention.
Yeah.
That's just, there's no other explanation that I can think of. Like nothing else makes any sense.
It looks like he took it down, actually.
Well, he got a lot of kickback apparently.
Yeah, no, he got a lot of, the comment section was ripping him a new one from his followers. Like, why would you do this to your wife?
Well, what I was wondering about is, didn't that air on live TV?
I don't know. I saw it after the fact.
Okay. I don't know either. But if that aired on live TV, he could be facing lawsuits. Because those news stations, even if someone cusses on air, they can face serious fines and consequences. I don't know what happens if you have full frontal nudity, but they're definitely not supposed to do that. And so, I think if I was his lawyer, I would be puking when I saw that. Just why? What were you thinking? No, this is just please sue me,
Very cringe, very cringe. Well, and I think that if Kanye genuinely started going down the path of curiosity in the things of the Lord, that he didn't have the right people around him to help him really count the cost of following Christ.
Yeah.
I think that anybody's going to have a genuine curiosity, especially when you're at your lowest point. I think that's a natural reaction. And so maybe he did start going down that path. His second album after he supposedly became a Christian, he has the likes of Marilyn Manson on that album. I couldn't even listen to that album because of that.
Yeah.
I don't think as a Christian, if you're doing work, I don't think you should bring Satanists to the table to help you do that work.
Yeah. And I'm, me. I love heavy metal. I love a lot of dark music. But there's a difference. When you're a Christian, you want to be around other Christians. You want to affiliate and associate and learn from other Christians. And so it goes back to what you were saying is he didn't have good spiritual role models in his life. And a lot of that is very likely on him. Because when you become a Christian, you should do basic things like go to church.
Yeah. Well,
You
and he
know,
was doing these service Sundays where he was actually filling up concert halls with people and calling it church. And he was having a choir that was there helping him sing in the background and calling that church.
And
You
see,
know,
then
that's not
he's like
church.
center stage. It's like that's not Christianity. That's you throwing a concert and being in the limelight while singing about Jesus. Like, that's not the same thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And there was a pastor who actually, I think his name was Adam something, and I can look it up. He was from the MacArthur fold of pastors. Let me see if I can find it. I'm pretty sure he graduated from Master's Seminary. He physically met with Kanye in person multiple times and tried to disciple him. Let me pull it up.
Well, it was Justin Bieber, Marilyn Manson, and Kanye West who pulled that weird baptism service. Do you remember that? Where they're like wearing masks and white hoods and stuff?
No.
Oh, it's really strange. I mean, they look like they're in like a death cult. Like, it's the weirdest, creepiest. Like, you expect this sort of thing from a bunker in Waco. Like, it's not typical Sunday morning church stuff.
His name is Adam Tyson. He's the senior pastor out of California. He graduated with his master's in divinity from the Master's Seminary, which is out of LA. The reason I bring this up is because I know MacArthur's seminary is biblically solid. They are rich theologically. They get down to the root of the meaning of the author's intent, keeping in mind cultural norms back in that time that the scriptures were written. I mean, this guy is solid. He met with Kanye West for, I think it was 18 months.
MacArthur did?
No, it's Pastor Adam Tyson.
Sorry.
He spent 18 months with Kanye West. And at the end of that, it appears as if Kanye has turned his back on Christianity. And praise the Lord. Listen, we want to know who God's people are. We will know them by their fruit. And if you believe that you're a Christian and you're not, because you're not counting the cost of discipleship, you're not repenting of your sins and turning to Christ, you're not putting off the old man, putting on the new man that God has commanded you to be. Well, then if he was confronted with real Christianity and he said, no, I'm not doing it, well, then praise the Lord. At least he's not lukewarm, right? At least we know exactly where he sits.
Yeah.
I think that he went down a path of genuine curiosity. And for a season, he thought he was a Christian and started making music for what he thought would glorify God. Time will always tell, right? Trial, tribulation, these things have a way of testing us and either refining us to make us more like Christ, or the thorns and the thistles, the cares of this world will choke out the seed of faith that was planted in our hearts to begin with. And so I think he could have tried to bamboozle the Christian community. He made a lot of money off of Jesus is King. He did a lot of those Sunday services and called them church. I'm pretty sure he probably charged for admission. I'm pretty sure people.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if he didn't.
I mean, now he's showing off his wife naked to the world. That's obviously not Christian.
Yeah, it's pretty clearly, yeah. It just to contrast this, one of the bands, metal bands that I like is called Camelot with a K. And Camelot with a K. And they used to have a singer named Roy Khan. And they sang about some dark stuff. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was all about, but there were a couple songs that were pretty dark. But anyway, Khan legitimately became a Christian. And he could no longer perform those songs. Like, in good conscience, he could not sing them anymore. And he left the band. He left the public eye. He started attending a church. He got baptized. He did a lot of work in private, spiritually. Let me see. I think it was around 2013 that he kind of publicly talked about becoming a Christian. And it wasn't until 2018 that he began releasing music again. It's, he took that time to lay his foundation, to get himself sorted, to learn. And I think that's really key. I think it's a big red flag when we see celebrities like Kanye, Russell Brand.
Russell Brand is another one. Like,
it's just like,
He was accused of horribly essaying someone,
Yeah,
if you remember. And then right after that, he became a Christian and people just forgot. I feel like people just forgot.
The timing is not a coincidence.
And then
And I think that
some wonky things, being a Christian,
he
even
still might be prosecuted for those things too. Not too long ago, there was a news article came out. I want to say it was just a couple of weeks ago that prosecutors are still looking to charge him. They're working on an investigation with, something about an assault.
yeah.
That.
And Kanye West also, I think it was September 2024, he's being sued right now by a model named Jennifer Ann, claiming that in 2010 at a New York City hotel called Chelsea Hotel, he viciously sexually assaulted and strangled her on a music video set.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, I think that's a pattern. When you have these celebrities getting accused of really vile crimes and then suddenly they're having a come to Jesus moment, that's a big, huge red flag. Like, it would be one thing if they, were, in their prime and doing great. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh my goodness, I need to change my life. I need to, stop taking drugs, stop drinking, or stop living this lifestyle, whatever it might be, and they make a 180 lifestyle change that only costs them, that they don't have to do, that they don't need to do. When it's beneficial to them, though, it raises big red flags to me. Like when it benefits their PR, their public image, to have this come to Jesus, Paul on the road to Damascus, type conversion story, it's just very suspicious to me. And speaking of Paul, when he became a Christian, this is Paul the Apostle in the Bible, when he became a Christian, Jesus actually appeared to people in the early church to validate, yes, I really did save Paul. You can trust him. You don't have, it's not a trick. And the reason that he did that was because he doesn't expect us to trust people who were bad yesterday and then today woke up claiming to be Christians. He doesn't expect us to, God gave us brains so that we could use them. And you read the book of Proverbs, you read so much in the Bible, we're called to be wise. Wise as serpents, innocent as doves. And I really think what that means, serpent in the Bible is a clear picture of Satan, right? So you're supposed to know the wiles of the devil, know the ways that evil people work, know about their tricks, know about risk factors, yet be as innocent as doves. What are doves pictures of? The Holy Spirit. So we have that Holy Spirit, we have that innocence, and yet we are not stupid. We are not called to be gullible. And I feel that a lot of Christians feel that they're called to be gullible. It's not the case. And it just frustrates me to no end, especially, you and me, we work in churches, we work with cases that never make the news. And so often I encounter Christians who are like, oh, well, this guy, yes, he's a convicted child predator. Yes, he beat his wife. Yes, he did this or that. But he says that he loves Jesus. And so we can't possibly consider, denying him, fellowship. We should trust him. We should just, assume that he's this great person now and let him around our kids and let him, it's just like, no, you're not. And so this whole tendency to trust guys like Kanye and Russell Brand and, these, even like
Andrew Tate.
Oh my gosh, he's not even a professing Christian. He's a Muslim.
He was for a while. And then
that just underscores that it's a trend to them. It's a PR stunt.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do this for a little while so that people will trust them to get the heat off their backs. Because here's how it works. Law enforcement is overburdened, but they're also human beings. And so if people aren't putting the heat on them to prioritize certain cases, a lot of times they won't. They'll go for the low-hanging fruit. They'll go for the cases where it's very cut and dry, that they know they can close quickly. And when it's a big, messy case, like you're dealing with a celebrity or a pastor, something that's going to cause a ruckus or something that's going to be very hard to prove, it's harder. It's much harder to get them to move on those cases. And so I really view a lot of times, if you've got someone who's recently been accused of abuse, and then they have this come to Jesus kind of moment, I really feel what they're doing is they're making it as unpleasant and uninviting as possible for law enforcement to prosecute them. because if they can get the public on their side, if they can get the media on their side, I hate to say it, but law enforcement they're generally speaking, are going to be less inclined to prosecute.
Well, that's exactly what Diddy tried to do. And he wasn't a professing Christian. I think in some of his songs, he mentioned something about Christianity, but
yeah. I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer claimed he was a Christian. I mean, it just,
he tried to change his name to Brother Love. And now there's people coming out saying Brother Love was anything but loving, even under that new name. So it's just people try to rebrand themselves when they get in hot water, and Christianity is an easy way to do that. And I feel like the Lord called us to be shrewd as serpents and innocent as doves, so that we could protect ourselves from wolves in sheep's clothing, for us to be discerning, to say, okay, yes, praise the Lord, this person's claiming Jesus, but let's look at their fruit.
Yes.
How are they responding in this? What are their extracurricular activities? Like, stop being so trusting of people just because they claim Jesus. Jesus said, we will know them by their fruit. You will know them by their love for my people. Why are we being so trusting? It drives me nuts. Like, I could go on a soapbox about this for like hours.
Jesus warned us that there are going to be hypocrites and false teachers. Like, this is Christianity 101. This is not complicated. And he said that at the end, when he returns, there are going to be people who said, Lord, Lord. And he's going to respond to them, I don't know you. Because they're fake.
But I did all these things in your name, God.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to be like, depart from me. You workers of iniquity. I know you not.
Yes.
Why? Because they were doing it for their own glory. They were doing it for self-preservation. Yeah. They were not doing it for the honor and the glory of God. They were doing it for themselves.
Yeah. And I mean, this is, and I think this comes back to a lack of discipleship in the church, that there are so many Christians who don't understand this, because it should be basic. It really should be basic. That's just frustrating.
I'm glad that we get to talk about these things, because they are real. That are real. They're affecting people. People we have to use the whole bride of Christ, right? We all have different gifts and skills and talents that God blessed us with, and we would do well to use them. And so being able to have the gift of discernment, to discern between good and evil, is so important. And so that's one of the reasons that we started this podcast, is to help the Christian community see the wolves in sheep's clothing, be more discerning, call it out, call it for what it is. Graciously, of course, respectfully, but don't entertain wolves.
No. Yeah. And when they're so overt too, that they're like whacking you upside the head with red flags, it's just, I think we really have a responsibility to call it out, because there are a lot of naive and gullible Christians who just don't get it. They don't see the red flags. And sometimes, that's because they've never been exposed to abuse, but other times it's because they have. And so because they've been manipulated and brainwashed and gaslighted so much, they have this blind spot to these people who maybe haven't abused them directly, but who are telling the same brand of lies, and so a lot of this, that kind of narcissistic behavior, people just, they buy into it. And it's really sad to see. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking about narcissistic behavior,
yes,
I feel like a lot of people don't realize, but maybe they're discovering now, how narcissistic Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are. Have you dived into the It Ends With Us drama fiasco?
No, scared too. I saw the thing where Taylor Swift said that they're taking a friend break, which I thought was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I like some of Taylor's music, but I think that she, oh my gosh, I have feelings about her.
Well, I know that art is expressed through many different means. Music is one of them. And my daughters and I listened to a few of her songs. My oldest is 20. I think I told you this the other day. She was a Swiftie for, I don't know, 5 years at least, I feel like.
Yeah.
She even had a signed album of Taylor Swift's.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And then she sold it after the Red album came out, because She felt like Taylor Swift had this transition during the Red album. And if you listen to her music on the Red album, you can kind of hear it. But she believes she's a witch now. So she does not want to listen to her music anymore. I think like Love Story, I think it's called, from her first album. There's a few songs that they're okay. You know, my 13-year-old daughters even listen to them here and there. But the drama with It Ends With Us, let's try that again. It Ends With Us was a movie, was a book. It was a book that was turned into a movie. Let's try that for I think third time's a charm. Okay, here we go. It Ends With Us was a book that was adapted into a movie. The book was written by a lady by the name of Colleen Hoover, and Justin Baldoni is an actor / producer. He's not well known. This is the first time I've ever heard of Justin Baldoni. Mm-hmm. He's a family man. He's married. He has young kids. He seems like a really stand-up guy. Mm-hmm. Now, he approached Colleen Hoover because he thought that the story that she had written was extremely powerful. He wanted to turn it into a movie. She wrote the book based off of her mother's real life experiences with, I believe, her father. Well, very long story short. Okay, so Justin convinced Colleen to turn this book into a movie. He worked with her directly for a long time to bring this to production. When they started talking about casting the lead role, I think the lead role's name is Lily Bloom. They thought of Blake Lively. Uh-huh. I don't know much about Blake Lively. I know she's married to Ryan Reynolds. I know she was in, I think it was Gossip Girl or something. Uh-huh. That's what launched her career, but I don't know much about her. Well, they cast her, and of course, she comes with a list of demands in order to be the lead role. Okay, so they meet all the demands that she makes, and over time, she becomes increasingly difficult to work with.
Yeah.
In the fall of 2024, some people that interviewed Blake previously had released footage showing that Blake is extremely narcissistic. She has, what's it called? She has like tone deafness. Like, for example, they were asking her questions about the movie. Keep in mind, it's about domestic violence.
Yeah.
And instead of answering, like, the one question was, if somebody sees you in public and asks you about the movie, what can you say to them to encourage them? And she was promoting her hairline and her alcohol line. Domestic violence, a lot of times, has a direct correlation with alcoholism. So why are you promoting your hairline, not talking about domestic violence survivors? And in the meantime, Justin Baldoni's going out and he's having huge interviews talking about how people can help domestic violence survivors. Like, the tone deafness was crazy.
Yeah.
So independent journalists start releasing evidence of Blake being tone deaf in these interviews, all on their own. They've even come out and said this had nothing to do with Justin Baldoni. Well, Blake Lively saw that as what they call astroturfing. New term. I never heard of it. Astroturfing is when someone purposefully does a smear campaign on someone else in public. Okay.
That's not what I would have guessed. Okay.
Me neither. So Blake Lively in December.
Is astroturf like that fake grass?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, you're feeding fake information to the public. Yeah, kind of like that. So that's why, I guess that's why they call it astroturfing. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud.
The whitewash tombs sort of idea.
Yeah, exactly like that. So Blake Lively accuses Justin Baldoni in December 2024 of sexual harassment and astroturfing. Now, if we back up, in the months preceding, Blake Lively became extremely difficult to work with, according to Justin Baldoni and the people on the set of the movie, to the point where she wouldn't even meet with the intimacy coordinator. When you're on the set of a film, they have what's called an intimacy coordinator if there's any kind of intimate moments in a movie to make it look real and to protect the two parties that are involved in those scenes, right? Well, they had an intimacy coordinator set up, and Blake on a regular basis refused to meet with the intimacy coordinator. So then turned on Justin, filing a lawsuit against him, claiming sexual harassment and astroturfing. She filed this 10-claim complaint with the California Civil Rights Department, and as they are starting to pick apart the claims, Justin Baldoni hires a lawyer. I think his name is Brian Freeman. He's quite the shark. And they provide evidence that Blake Lively omitted communications, like she provided proof through text messages, but deleted some of the text messages when she printed it out and provided it as evidence.
And so you're only getting like one side of the story. Yeah.
So then Justin Baldoni's like, but you forgot about this, this, and this. And then he prints out the whole thing, gives it to his lawyer. The lawyer, in turn, of course, submits it as evidence. And Blake Lively, it's starting to appear that she tried to steal the movie from Justin Baldoni. She went as far as creating her own edit of the movie and then releasing that edit as the final cut of the movie when Justin was the producer of the movie. And when the movie was premiered and, you know, their families come together to watch the movie in a really nice setting, Justin and his family were put in the basement.
What?
There's picture evidence of all of this. Blake Lively said, if him and his family are with the rest of us, I will boycott and I will walk out of this place. So for Justin to save face, he just went in the basement with his family to watch the movie premiere.
That's bizarre.
It's crazy. There's pictures of him with his family, very nicely dressed up. His mom came, his dad came, his cousins came, like everybody came because this was a big deal for him. He'd been working on this for years and they were shoved in the basement with the drinks.
Well, at least they had the drinks.
At least they had drinks, right? So it's just
so weird.
When you start looking at the details of this, you see that Blake Lively threatened Justin Baldoni with her dragons that will come out. And those two dragons were Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift, saying that they were going to destroy his reputation if he didn't meet her demands. Since then, a lot of people let me back up. She gave a bunch of this evidence to the New York Times. The New York Times ran an article that made Justin Baldoni appear to be the predator. And now Justin Baldoni is suing the New York Times for defamation with an astronomical amount of money. So he's suing the New York Times for defamation. He's suing Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Wayfair Studios, which he is a co-owner of, is part of that lawsuit as well. And Taylor Swift's name is mentioned throughout that lawsuit as someone who Blake Lively tried to use against Justin Baldoni because of her influence.
Well, it's like just today, Fox News announced that Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds could testify in Blake Lively Justin Baldoni trial.
Yep, that's what Brian Freeman is pushing for, and he should, because, you know, they're going to have to subpoena all of her communications on her cell phone. So she has worked so hard to cultivate an image for herself to her millions of fans. And some commentary has come out to say that in the article that Taylor Swift had wrote in response to Blake Lively's situation and announcing they were going on a friend break, said that Blake Lively is very bold and brash and Taylor takes care of things a lot quieter.
Yeah.
And the way it was written was insinuating, and I don't think her PR team intended to do this, but it insinuated that they're both two and the same people, but Taylor just handles things a little bit more discreetly. And it looks like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds did the Deadpool movie in the middle of all of this, and he made fun of Justin Baldoni in the Deadpool movie.
Really?
Yeah. There was scenes that were cut from the movie, but you can still watch them online. And he's pretending to be this soft version of Deadpool, this feminist man who started a podcast, who has a man bun, and he literally described Justin Baldoni to the T.
Oh, wow. That's funny. Well, I mean, it's not funny, but it's...
Yeah.
I just feel like, I don't know. I think all of this goes back to narcissism. Like, I feel like these people, it's like no normal person would create this much drama. Like, this is so much drama. It's like a bad episode of Jerry Springer. I just, and anytime I see this amount of drama, I just wonder where the narcissist is. And it's usually pretty easy to figure out. Well, I don't know, but at the same time, like, I kind of feel bad for Ryan Reynolds because, like, he's married to Blake Lively, right? So, like, and the allegation is that she and Justin were sending inappropriate texts.
No. So it's not just that. There's many situations that happened that she brought up in the lawsuit against him that he then gave video and photo and text message evidence of. A few of those allegations are they were supposed to run lines together and she was in her trailer and she was breastfeeding her newborn. And Justin said, when do you want to run lines? She said, oh, I'm just in my trailer breastfeeding. You can come by anytime, she said in the text message. So Justin's like, I'm just finishing eating with the team right now and I'll make my way over there. So she put in the lawsuit that he would approach her during inappropriate times, one of those being when she was breastfeeding. Now, keep in mind that she has bodyguards outside of her trailer at all times. So he said, no, here's the text message proof. She invited me over there. She breastfeeds openly.
Yeah.
So I didn't see it as an issue. How would I have gotten past her bodyguards if I wasn't invited? Like, it just does not make sense. So that's one. Another one is they were filming a scene of It Ends With Us where there was no dialogue. It was just them dancing and there was music in the background. It was like a bar scene kind of like. Well, Blake kept telling Justin, well, it doesn't feel natural for us to be just dancing quietly. I think we should talk. And the director is trying to get her to stop talking. Like, it's not part of the scene.
Yeah.
And she's complaining that something about her spray tan. He's like, don't worry. It smells fine. It smells good. I'm not worried about it.
It's not one of those films that you can smell things. Yeah.
Right. He's like, I'm not worried about it. And then as they're, acting, this is one of the reasons I could not continue with my acting lessons as a teenager because I felt like I was lying. I'm like,
yeah,
I wasn't even following God at the time, but I thought to myself, like, if I have to kiss someone and I'm married, is that not cheating? Like, I always had such a sensitive conscience.
Yeah.
They're filming this scene and he's like caressing her face and they're in a relationship.
It's romantic, yeah.
Yeah, they're in a relationship in the movie. Well, she claims that he was touching her inappropriately. It's all filmed. Like, she didn't think that there was a microphone on. Well, there was. He was wearing one. So the whole dialogue was recorded. And what she presents in the lawsuit is that he was being inappropriate in the dialogue. She didn't know it was recorded.
No.
And so he produces, they have a whole website of all the evidence on Justin Baldoni's team to show that Blake Lively is lying through and through to destroy Justin, to take the producer credit on the movie. And at the same time, it was like 2 weeks before the movie was finished, she fired the orchestra conductor and then hired you can't make this stuff up, the one that just finished the Deadpool movie.
Did she even have the authority to do that? Why can an actress fire the...
And that's the thing, because she kept saying, well, if you don't let me, then I won't be Lily Bloom. So she tried to steal the movie from Justin, thinking he had no backbone, thinking he wouldn't stand up for himself. And now it's coming out that she invited him over to her apartment in New York. Taylor Swift showed up shortly after that. She orchestrated all this stuff. Justin Baldoni questioned her and his joint physical trainer because he has a horrible back issue. He said, there's a scene I have to lift Blake Lively up in. How much does she weigh? Because I don't want to hurt my back further. Well, the physical trainer took that to Blake Lively. She found out. She told Ryan Reynolds. They invited Justin Baldoni over to the New York City penthouse, and Ryan Reynolds laid into Justin Baldoni for asking how much Blake Lively weighed and fat shaming her.
Hey, to be fair, if he's got a back issue that severe, they should just use a double anyway. I mean, why would you, even if she only weighs 120 pounds, which she doesn't, but even if she did, you have a back issue, you have a back issue. But yes.
Yeah, it's just weird. This is what I think. You want to know what I think? For what it's worth, this is my opinion. There's no evidence to back this up, everybody. This is just that of my own thoughts. Just looking at this case from a woman's perspective, this is what I think. I think she started catching feelings for Justin Baldoni. And when Ryan Reynolds was recording Deadpool and she invited Justin over to their apartment and Ryan Reynolds saw him on camera without him present, I think he lost his mind on Blake Lively. Ever since that, she has been trying to turn the narrative around to make it seem like he was harassing her.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, it's supposition, but I think it does make sense.
How can you live out like intimate scenes with someone? Women, especially women, are emotional beings.
Yeah.
And if you're going to have intimate relations with anybody, whether it be acting or not, there's a chemical reaction that happens.
Yeah.
I did not watch the movie, but from what many people tell me is that the chemistry between the two of them was absolutely undeniable.
Yeah.
So that's just what
either she's a really, really great actress, or some of that was legit. But it does feel and sound personal, like nasty personal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this feels vengeful and hateful, which, it also fits with the narcissist thing. It's like if you don't play along with their games, if you don't, when they say jump, you're going to have hell to pay. And that's exactly what this looks like on an astronomical scale, because most narcissists aren't this famous and aren't this rich.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, some of the stars that she has acted with have since come out and said that she is a horrible person to work with. Like,
well, she's very lively, yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that one. The reason I wanted to bring it up, though, is because it's not common that you find a woman who is claiming someone has, sexually harassed them or done worse to them that is lying. It's like less than 1% of accusations are fabricated. And I feel like this is just a reminder for all of us that we would do well to be careful.
Yeah.
First of all, anytime a child claims anything, you want to believe that child, you want to support that child.
Yeah.
But when women come out of the woodworks out of nowhere and say, hey, this happened, we just be careful, pump the brakes, ask yourself what kind of motive or agenda could be behind this, what led up to this. Now, I was sexually abused when I was a teenager. That's past the statutory limits of being able to file against that, but I didn't know when I was a teenager that that's what it was. As an adult, I know that.
Yeah.
But I just want everybody to use some caution in how we view situations like this.
Yeah. How you respond. It reminds me of this one thing. There was this hashtag for a while. It's probably still a thing. It says believe women or believe all women.
Mm.
As if everyone, no matter what their past or what the circumstances or what their motives may be, should just be believed without question simply because they're female. In my experience, the men who had that hashtag in their ex profile or whatever, they were the most prone to call me a liar when I shared my account. Isn't that weird?
That's very weird.
But it's kind of like, it reminds me of like the Harvey Weinstein phenomenon, where it's like you've got this guy who, he's a womanizer, he's an abuser, but he marches in the Women's March. He claims to be a feminist. And it's like, I don't know, there are these certain types of men in particular who pretend to be advocates when in actuality, what they want is they want to gain your trust because they're actually predators. Mm-hmm. It's just a pattern that I've repeatedly seen. And I'll be very interested, if Ryan Reynolds does end up testifying in this case, like what he says.
Yeah.
Because he's really getting the crap end of the stick in this situation because he's her husband. If there was any kind of hanky-panky, even if it was just emotional and nothing physical ever really happened, even in that case, this is such a not awesome, really awful situation for him to be in. So if he totally backs her up, I don't know. It'll just be interesting to watch it play out.
He's definitely backing her up. I mean,
well, so far. I mean, keep in mind, he lives with her. Mm-hmm. So, and so those texts that she released and stuff, that's what he saw. He's always seeing her side of the story. Presumably he loves her. I mean, they're married. So, for him to take her side.
Wasn't he with Scarlett Johansson? And then
I can't track.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds met on a set together, and then they started being disloyal to their significant others, and then they got married. I mean, anybody who's,
most celebrities, I can't keep track of who they're all with. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I actually like Ryan Reynolds as an actor. I think he's a really good actor. He's hilarious.
He's charming. Yeah. He's like, a lot of the actors, like, I'm trying to think of, like Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey, like they're really, really crass.
Yeah.
And I find them very obnoxious after a while. Like I like some of their movies, but I find them very obnoxious
Mm.
and irritating also. But then like Ryan Reynolds, I've never felt that way. Like he's just genuinely funny, lighthearted, and
Yeah.
yeah, Deadpool obviously is, got some off-color humor in it, but it's just like, and I think the second one honestly was kind of stupid. The first one was better.
The kids
But
haven't watched Deadpool. Me and my husband have watched Deadpool, but I don't know. I like Ryan
it's dark
Reynolds.
humor. It's dark humor.
His movie with Sandra Bullock, The Proposal, I think it was.
Uh-huh.
You see that movie?
I don't think I've seen that one. It's
That
really
one's
cute.
good.
Yeah.
It's a rom-com, so if you like
Yeah.
rom-com.
Yeah.
But there's this scene with Betty White. You remember Betty White, right? She's Ryan Reynolds' grandma in the movie, and
Sandra
Bullock is his boss, actually.
Oh, yes, I did see this.
Yeah.
Is this the one where she invites him to come to her family's house because she told him she had a boyfriend, but she doesn't or something like that?
So he's her like assistant, and
That's
she's
right.
about to be deported from America to Canada. And she forces him to invite her to his parents' house in Alaska. And they pretend like they're engaged to each other. But this one scene is hilarious because Betty White's doing this ritual, obviously not a Christian ritual. So, make that what you will. But she's doing this ritual in the woods, and she's doing this chant, and Sandra Bullock comes up. She just kind of stumbled on Betty White doing this, and she's like, okay, I'm going to leave. And then Betty White sees her, and she's like, no, come join us. And nobody else is there. It's just her. And she's like, come join us. Okay. So she's like, start chanting. So she sings from the windows to the walls to the sweat drop down my, you know that song? It was hilarious. Well, it's good because you're a Christian. You shouldn't know that song, Jen. I shouldn't know that song. I was just a teenager or maybe a very young adult when that song came out. So I was not a Christian yet, but it's hilarious. I like Ryan Reynolds movies. I'm not a big fan of Blake Lively. I've also not watched much of her work. So maybe if I did, I would like her. I don't know, but
I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see what comes of this situation. I hope at the end of this, for all of the trouble that Justin Baldoni went through, I hope he's stinking rich and wealthy and can pass that on to his kids.
It's such a mess.
So I just wanted to bring up that TikTok is for sale because if they don't find an American owner within a certain amount of time, TikTok will be banned from America. And the reason being is because our administration believes and has proved that TikTok is being used to steal American information. And I guess the algorithms for Americans are quite vastly different than those in China, for example.
Yeah.
Where Chinese citizens will get a lot of STEM content, science, technology, engineering, and mechanics, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that people in America get vastly different content, like LGBTQ content, for example. Lots of that is directed towards Americans, where not same for Chinese. So our administration thinks that TikTok is being used to create discord within the next generation and
influence, a
hatred for America. So Trump is saying that an American has to purchase it. He even went as far as saying that the U.S. government was going to purchase TikTok and at least own 50%, and they were going to do this for free. They weren't actually going to pay anything.
Oh, what could go wrong?
Because Americans make up the majority of the audience on TikTok. And so his justification is, well, if American government owns it and Americans are the number one user, then we're actually doing you a service by keeping the platform in America. And that is worth us being co-owner without actually paying anything. So that was Trump's idea. But Mr. Beast has a completely different idea. And for those of you who don't know who Mr. Beast is, he's the number one YouTuber in the entire world with hundreds of millions of followers, and he is worth a nauseating amount of money. And here's the thing, Mr. Beast is proposing to purchase TikTok for a whopping $20 billion with a B dollars, and he's working with the founder and CEO of Roblox to do this. So let's just take a step back and decide whether or not this is going to be a good idea. So Mr. Beast is under investigation by the FBI for a number of accusations. First of all, it's cryptocurrency insider trading. Secondly, inhumane treatment of the people on the Mr. Beast games. Thirdly, he willingly employed a child predator. And then Rosanna Pansino, who he was collaborating with, discovered internal chat logs on Telegram that proved that Mr. Beast was enabling vile discussions about minors within the organization.
Yeah. See, I'm seeing that in September 2024, is his real name Donaldson, I guess?
Jimmy Donaldson.
Yeah. He's a subject of a class action lawsuit alleging widespread mistreatment, sexual harassment, and unpaid expenses and wages on his ongoing reality television series, Beast Games.
So he's under investigation for a lot of different things, and people in this world think that he is just amazing. There's nothing bad in this individual. He's, a philanthropist. He has Beast Philanthropy. They went down to, what's the town? I forget off the top of my head, Mapapa in Africa, and helped Dora Muno Nyambi rebuild the dorms that were taken down from a horrible storm, and even gave them solar panels for free for this school that houses over 500 kids that Dora's rescued from things like child marriage and abuse and all that stuff. So he does things like this.
Sure.
And so people think that he's just an amazing guy, but people don't see what goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
This is just classic grooming behavior.
Yeah.
It's classic. You groom the community to believe you're one thing when behind closed doors, you are a completely different person.
Yeah. And do you see how this is the same thing that's happening like in the Kanye story, in the Russell Brand story, in the Harvey Weinstein story? Like it's, marching in the Women's March, claiming that you're a Christian, claiming you're environmentalist. Like, it's the same thing. Like, it's just the same pattern.
So that's the Mr. Beast side, right? The Roblox side, I forget the CEO owner's name. Maybe you can look that up. But Roblox, as we've talked about in the past, Bloomberg even said that it is the gaming platform for kids with a predator problem.
Yes.
There was over 13,000 case reports submitted just last year for children being enticed online by predators on the Roblox platform. They've done nothing to stop this issue where predators are going on a children's platform. They're creating role-playing games that are extremely inappropriate for kids to engage with, but Roblox is doing absolutely nothing to stop them. So much so that I don't even know how many predators from the Roblox platform has contacted children on the platform, taken them off that platform onto places like Discord and Snapchat, communicated with them there, send them gifts like, Robux, so that way they can spend it in the app, and then has built a relationship with these children to go out and meet them in person.
So disturbing.
Numerous predators were caught doing that, even Roblox developers. So what in the world makes us think that Mr. Beast and the Roblox CEO going in together on TikTok is a good idea? No. And TikTokers are over the moon about this possibility because it means that they get to keep access to TikTok in America.
Right. I personally, I think TikTok is just brain rot. There's a lot of cool stuff on it. There's, people who have their businesses on there, and I get why they want to keep that. But I feel like TikTok, just as a platform, because of the way it's designed, because of the nature of its functionality, it appeals to the most narcissistic, stupid side of people, and especially kids, young people. You get these dumb challenges, kids doing ridiculously stupid, embarrassing stuff that, in 10, 15 years, they're not going to want anybody to see that. And it just takes people down to the most narcissistic, obnoxious version of themselves. And I don't feel like it's mentally healthy. And I'm concerned about, Roblox as well. My kids have played Roblox, and, I frequently ban them from Roblox because it's so hard as a parent to police that, to monitor that, especially when you've got multiple kids. I mean, even one child would be difficult. You've got multiple kids in different rooms and you're trying to do your thing, cook dinner, wash the dishes, whatever. It's very, very difficult to monitor what your kids are doing. And if you don't have a safe platform, it's just dangerous.
Yeah.
It's just
Absolutely.
risky, you know, and I've got really sweet kids, really good kids who, if anything weird happened, I know for sure that they would tell me, but I don't want to get to that spot. You know, I don't want them to have to say, Mom, some guy on Roblox said this to me. What's that mean? I don't want to even be there. So it's just, and I don't trust Mr. Beast or Roblox to make TikTok a better platform, platform. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
They can't even make their own platforms better and safe for people.
Exactly.
They have no business endeavoring into other territories until they get their ships together.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, we will be back here in a week or so, maybe 2. I don't know. We'll see. But hey, let us know what you want us to talk about in the comments below. And we're happy to cover different topics that maybe we have not come across yet.
Oh, there are so many. Yeah. There's only so many things that we can even see.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we dive into the Doge department.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Oh my gosh. Yes. We should delve into some of this U.S. aid stuff next time.
I think that's
some of it is crazy. One of the things I'd love to talk to you about next time is this recent report. Nancy Mace, I tweeted about it or posted about it, whatever you want to call it. The U.S. government was actually doing medical experimentation on innocent animals, making them trans. They were transing animals as an experiment.
And they were charging U.S. taxpayers to do it.
Yes, they spent millions of dollars in taxpayer money to essentially torture animals.
So I have one of my teenage daughters is in the room and heard you say that, and she is almost in tears right now that we would even consider transing animals.
Yeah.
Like, what has this world come to?
I have my reservations about really any kind of animal testing. Mm-hmm. I get it when it comes to, you know, we want to cure cancer. We want to cure heart disease. You know, there's terrible diseases out there that, you know, and sometimes, you know, some kind of experimentation, like, but it should be done as humanely as possible. There is absolutely categorically no reason to do this kind of thing. It's just animal torture. That's really what it comes down to.
I agree. And it reminds me of the horrible abortion industry, and it makes my heart hurt so bad.
Yeah.
But we will save that for next week. We could talk about that for hours, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're not going to do that today. But until next time, we want to encourage you all, check out both of our websites. Jen, what's your website address?
Mine is actually down because I forgot to renew my domain name. So just check me out on Twitter. You can find me.
Yeah. Go to Jen Twitter, but go to her Substack. Her Substack has amazing blog posts that will help you really just think differently in light of certain topics. And so go check out her Substack. Check out my website, TheBoldAdvocate.org. I have an online course on there to help you be bold for children in identifying abuses and responding. I have other resources on there for you. So go check out our websites or social medias or Substacks. And until next time, we want to encourage you to better protect kids and, if the Lord allows you to, rescue them in their time of need.
Yes. Be bold.
Be bold. That's right. Bye, guys.